This is a stimulus update and daily news report, and a lot of things are changing. We're going to talk about the $1,000 and $500 per month checks that are going on in a few different cities around the country. We'll go over this article right here, fourth stimulus checks, whatever happened to Democrats' push for more direct relief. We'll talk about the big new $1.75 trillion package and what's happening between the progressives and the White House and the big standoff going on there. I'll play a video clip from the Republicans' perspective of what's going to happen moving forward. I'll give you some other more important updates as well. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So Biden told House Democrats we badly need a vote on his infrastructure bill, but progressives stood firm. So there was a big standoff. President Biden released the $1.75 trillion framework. Big difference between a framework and a bill. A framework is just a general outline. A bill is where something could be voted on. So President Biden released the framework, and progressives said, okay, this is great. This is a good framework, but we're still not voting on infrastructure unless the Part 2, the Build Back Better plan, is introduced as well. So President Biden urged Democrats to vote on his two spending plans on Thursday, but the effort fell short. Progressives have long demanded the plans be voted on together, but negotiations with Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema have delayed a vote. The House and Senate majorities and my presidency could be decided by whether the plans are voted on, Biden warned. Well, looks like the standoff between the progressives and the moderates and the progressives versus President Biden in the White House still stands. Right here, if we look, progressives won't leave working families behind. Jayapal stands ground against Pelosi and Biden, saying, we've been clear since the spring. The infrastructure bill and the Build Back Better Act passed together, and that hasn't changed. Here's a video clip from Pramila Jayapal, the Progressive Caucus leader, talking about the latest of what's going to happen moving forward.
If you were explaining to somebody right now who hasn't been following this all along, who hasn't been super engaged in all the ins and outs, who just wants to know if there's going to be something new coming from Washington to help people, would you tell them yes, or would you tell them we still don't know?
I would say absolutely yes. Today was a kind of an amazing day. I have to say that. We got a framework from the president. The Progressive Caucus then endorsed that framework, which meant that our 96-member caucus agreed that that framework in principle was something that we could enthusiastically support. We were able to send the president off to Europe with that endorsement. And then, Rachel, we got the text. We got the text, which is what I said we needed. And guess what? When you put those demands forward, actually, you can make stuff happen. And so we got the text for the bill. It is 1,400 pages. We're going through it right now. And our caucus, as you know, already agreed that we would vote on the infrastructure bill if we had the Build Back Better Act and the text of the Build Back Better Act, that the two bills would move together. And Rachel, I feel like we are very close. But the most important thing is this. 3 weeks ago, when I was on your show, we did not have a bill that had 50 senators. The White House was engaged, but not nearly as engaged as they have been. We did not have progressives and moderates and whoever else is in the House ready to vote for the Build Back Better Act. There was all kinds of back and forths about it. And in 3 weeks, by progressives holding the line and saying these two bills need to go together because we are not leaving anybody behind, we were able to get more negotiation to happen than has happened in the last 6 months with these two senators. And now I think, and I met with Senator Kyrsten Sinema today, it was a really good meeting, very productive. And I've been talking, as you know, to Joe Manchin. And Rachel, I really believe that we have shown people what it means to fight for them, to not leave people behind. And we will deliver very shortly, we will deliver both the BIF, the infrastructure bill, and the remarkably transformational Build Back Better Act so that families across this country can get universal child care by paying no more than 7% of their income, universal pre-K, the biggest investment in housing since the New Deal, investment in elder care, home and community-based care, the biggest investment in climate ever that we have ever seen. And healthcare for people. Not to mention, we will actually change the tax code so that finally we can bring a tiny bit of fairness, not everything we wanted, but a tiny bit of fairness to the tax code so the wealthiest corporations and individuals start to pay more of their fair share.
What are your thoughts on Pramila Jayapal? She is sticking to her guns, standing firm, making sure that there is no infrastructure vote unless the Build Back Better vote is voted on as well. And it looks like she might be okay with the $1.75 trillion framework. She still wants to see the language. So House progressives endorse Biden's pared back spending framework, likely making passage when, not if. So there's a really interesting dynamic. I'm not going to show all the video clips, but there's been a lot of video clips between a lot of different progressives saying, yes, the framework is good enough, but we want to see the bill, we want to see the language, and we want to vote on it along with the infrastructure vote. So here is a video clip from the Republicans' perspective. Representative Comer from Kentucky talking about this big package. I like to give multiple perspectives on this channel, so here is the Republicans' perspective here.
Let's bring in Congressman James Comer. Congressman, great to see you as always. What did you make of yesterday's roller coaster?
Well, it just further proof that the progressives are running the Democrat agenda now in the House of Representatives to think that that bill wasn't enough spending for them shows just how far left they are. I mean, this bill raised every tax imaginable on small business. It expanded welfare beyond any normal liberal's imagination, and yet it still wasn't enough for those 9 ultra-liberal Democrats.
Who do you think ends up caving?
I think that in the end that the progressives are going to get what they want because they're not going to budge. Nancy Pelosi can only lose 4 votes. Thank goodness the Republicans are sticking together, and I had my concerns that we could do that, but we have. And I feel like at the end of the day, they're going to have to pass something. Their base is restless, and at the end of the day, I think the moderates will cave.
Okay, but if progressives get what they want, then tell me what you think is the bigger picture here for precedent going forward.
Well, you know, it's a terrible precedence what we've done, allowing the Democrats to be able to get to this point. There's no debate. You're talking about a bill that we honestly don't know at the end of the day how much it's going to cost. There was no debate as to who's going to be affected by the tax increases to be able to pay for the bill. We don't think it'll even come close to paying for the bill, but it does raise a significant amount of revenue. And our founding fathers would be rolling over in their graves if they saw how there was no regular order, there's no transparency. This is being negotiated by people that have absolutely no appreciation for finances and no concern about the national debt.
There's also the question of when. I mean, Jillian and I were just talking about when is this going to happen, if it does happen at all. Here's Molly Hemingway on that. Listen.
The Biden administration keeps putting forth these arbitrary deadlines or dates by which they want something passed without dealing with the actual fundamental problem, which is not only was Biden elected not to do this type of spending. In fact, polls show that people are not looking for increased spending at a time they have such economic concern.
You agree?
I do. You know, inflation is affecting everyone. People are starting to understand that if the government continues to print money, then inflation is going to continue to increase. So I don't think there's a sense of urgency by the average American to see the Democrats continue on their unlimited spending spree. So
what's your thought on the Republicans' perspective on both the infrastructure and the reconciliation bill? Does this bring things into perspective? Does this make you think differently about what's going on? So when is this all going to happen? We've been hearing about this for months, that October 31st is the latest deadline. Well, progressives see infrastructure vote next week. So October 31st was supposed to be the soft deadline, no consequences, no accountability if the deadline passes and nothing is done. But what it says here is House liberals are playing the long game. The progressives who bucked their president to block an infrastructure vote this week also lowered the bar for moving an even larger social benefits package at the heart of Joe Biden's domestic policy agenda. It's a two-step dance that's rankled party leaders in the near term, but simultaneously paved the way for quicker action on both proposals. perhaps as early as next week. Here's a video clip from Representative Ro Khanna talking more about this reconciliation bill.
Are you willing at this moment to take nothing over something? Because worst case scenario, you've got the bipartisan hard infrastructure bill ready to go with the president's assurances, promises that he's still fully committed to work on the human infrastructure bill.
Stephanie, I'm prepared to do exactly what the president wants. And what he said very clearly to the caucus is we want both bills. He offered a compromise framework, $1.75 trillion, less than 2% of GDP, to have universal child care, to have preschool. And most progressives are rallying around that. He said, let's get it done over the next week or so. Let's pass both bills. Progressives agree. So I think there's been too much focus on did it get done yesterday or not. The reality is, as Jake Sherman pointed out, this is going to happen. It'll happen over the next week or so, and then people will see what they're going to get and how their lives will improve.
What's going to change in the next week that you didn't get yesterday?
Well, there's still details that have to be worked out. Is there going to be Medicare negotiation? You know, we've been campaigning for 2 decades saying let's bring the cost of prescription drugs down. That's a big issue. Our seniors going to get dental, vision, and hearing. That will be a big deal. And so if we just signed the dotted line and didn't wait for this week, we may leave benefits that would improve the lives of people. We want to get the best we can. And if waiting a week is going to deliver more for the working class, it's worth waiting a week. But I want to be very clear. The progressives will deliver for the president. We want the president to have a win. We're willing to compromise, and we're willing to embrace the framework.
So what I thought was going to be decided in the next 24 to 48 hours, which is what I said yesterday, looks like it may take another few days before things are finally settled. So I'll keep you updated with that. Next, AOC says now it is time to bring the heat on Biden to cancel student debt. He doesn't need Manchin's permission for that. So student loan forgiveness has still been going on. President Biden still saying that he's waiting for the Education Secretary, Mr. Cardona, to say whether or not it can be done. Progressives are saying they don't need Cardona or Senator Manchin. So Biden unveiled a $1.75 trillion social spending plan to void of many progressive priorities. AOC said on Instagram the slashed spending package is a chance to ramp up pressure for student debt cancellation. AOC saying he needs to step up his executive action game and show his commitment to deliver for people. Next, let's talk about the big $1,000 and $500 checks, as well as other universal basic income programs that are going on. So LA families may get up to $1,000 a month through the city's universal basic income program. So Los Angeles city officials announced today a universal basic income pilot program known as Big Leap. More than 3,200 low-income families facing extreme financial challenges because of the COVID-19 pandemic who will be chosen at random to receive $1,000 a month for 1 year starting in January. So it looks like $1,000 per month for an entire year starting in January for a lot of different families going on in Los Angeles, and not just Los Angeles, other places as well. So Chicago passes budget with one of country's largest universal basic income programs. So Chicago will use $35 million to test the universal basic income program for 1 year. The city will send $500 to 5,000 low-income families as part of what Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has said is the largest universal basic income program in the country. So looks like Los Angeles and Chicago, Los Angeles giving $1,000 per month to 3,200 families, Chicago giving $500 to 5,000 low-income families for a year. So let me know your thoughts on this. What do you think about the universal basic incomes or guaranteed income by mayors? Is this a good idea, bad idea? Should more cities and states do this? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Next, let's also go over this article right here. Stimulus check update. These cities and states are offering payments up to $12,000. So just a quick rundown of the other cities that are giving universal basic income or guaranteed income. So Chicago, which I just mentioned, also California, which I just mentioned. Also the city of Ann Arbor, Michigan is weighing how much to spend more than $24 million in stimulus funds. One option under consideration is a stimulus check program offering families $500 payments for the next 3 years. And then in September, Pittsburgh City Council members signaled their support of a similar program. Their 200 low-income residents would get $500 monthly payments for 2 years, which would equate to $12,000 by the end of the program for each recipient. So $12,000, that's a lot of money. Do you think this will make a difference in people's lives? Would this make a difference in your life? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Also, this article right here, fourth stimulus checks. Whatever happened to the Democrats' push for more direct relief? So great question. So in terms of a general fourth stimulus check, originally Democrats, including Bernie Sanders and many other Democrats, I think there were over 80 lawmakers who were in support of a fourth stimulus check. Whatever happened to that? Well, it looks like the Democrats are so focused on trying to get something out of that new $1.75 trillion Build Back Better plan that stimulus checks have just gone out the window. A lot of programs have been cut from that big spending package, and stimulus checks have just gone away with it. When it comes to the petition for $2,000 per month to every American for fourth stimulus checks, currently at 2,940,000 signatures. And as mentioned before, these fourth stimulus checks are not in any package, not as a standalone bill. Democrats and progressives are just trying to fight for whatever they can out of that new Build Back Better plan, which is the big social spending package. So at this moment, no fourth stimulus checks. And that is all the stimulus news I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Guys, I didn't see you there. Hi guys, this is Belle. This is the tip of the day. So I wanted to tell you something that you should do. Hi guys, what are you doing? Sorry, that's my sister. If you want to do something and you can't find something, you have to do what you want to do and make another something. If you can't do the first one, then go on to the next one, because you have to stay positive and good and have good relationships with some friends, and you should always be good enough. Bye. That's all I wanted to tell you.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. We went to the beach today, had a great time with the fam. Here's some pictures and videos of us at the beach. We had a really, really, really good time. Water was really nice and beautiful. So hopefully you're having a great weekend. If you want to check out any of the videos, you can click up here or down here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.